This book is titled Rose and Thorn. It is by author Tyanna. There are so many different things that I could touch on with this book. I'm going to start off by saying, if you know that you have children from a previous relationship and you know that you're looking for a partner because you want to get remarried, please choose a husband or wife that's not going to mind you stepping out and cheating. And God forbid, if something happens to you, they're not going to mistreat your child. Because that is the reality of, I feel like we don't talk about enough. And it was great to see this representation in a book. There are often times when, if you were stepping out in your marriage, people are not going to continue raising your children with the same amount of kindness that they were raising them with when you were still alive, which is why it's also so important not to just have an account set aside for your children in the event that you pass away. Make sure that you have enough life insurance set up to the point where not only can we bury you, but we can also make sure that your kids can go to school. And we can also make sure that whoever takes on that responsibility of catering to your child, raising your child, let's make sure that they have enough income for a consistent monthly basis to continue providing the same lifestyle that you were giving that child before you died. This book is about 180 pages. It came out a few years ago in 2019, September 2019. This is a book that already has so many reviews, and I feel like I was just in time to the party. I feel like it was one of those books where it had some feel good elements. There was also some trigger warning elements at the very, very beginning. There was an almost essay scene, but it's nothing graphic. So yes, trigger warning, but at the same time, for the people who are like, I can still make a little bit, it's still in a good, comfortable space for us. I just think this author did such a good job with the pacing. I feel like you can resonate with Rose very easily because she's a young adult. She's in her early 20s. The author did a very good job of painting the mindset of a young lady in her early 20s that's not exactly 21 yet, but that's struggling to find herself. Sometimes you do fall into certain habits such as drinking and evading emotions. I feel like the author also did a very good job at portraying how sometimes when people are overweight or they're considered big, how people just assume you just eat all the time. That's not necessarily what's happening. Some people do have underlying health conditions. Some people eat and then go directly to sleep. Now, your girl used to be real skinny, okay? When I lost my sibling, and I talked about this many a times before, when my brother passed, it was extremely unexpected. Nothing in this world could have prepared me for it. So I did notice there would be times where I would literally find the strength to get out of bed finally. I would eat and I would go directly to sleep. And I can truly say that helped your girl to put on some pounds a lot faster than I would have ever anticipated. So you can't just look at people and be like, oh my God, she's plus size. It's because all she does is eat. She doesn't work out. She's lazy. That's not always the case, okay? People have battles that they're dealing with behind closed doors that no one knows about. And you can't just look at a person and think, well, since they're big, this is probably their battle. There's a lot of stuff that people be doing behind closed doors that no one talks about. But just because it's not as physically present, people act like that's okay. There's a lot of people that don't even have $1,000 in their savings account today. You have a lot of people that like to play with their nose. And just because you don't come to work sniffling all the time, then people don't judge you as much. You also have some people that have a corn addiction. Just because you're not coming to work and it's not up on the laptop for all of us to see, all of us are battling things behind closed doors that no one knows about. And what I really like to see in this book, I like seeing that Thorne was such a very active protector. When you talk about wanting a man that protects you and that also protects your legacy that you're leaving behind, Thorne was not only a protector of Rose because of his relationship to her father before he passed, he was also a very big protector of, okay, this is what Russ taught us before he passed. I'm going to take these lessons and I'm going to continue on his legacy. It's not just about money. And I love to see that because a lot of times we do talk about legacy building. And a lot of times I've met men in the past where they'll say things like, oh, I want to have another child. I want to have children so I can leave my legacy behind. What about the lessons that you left behind? That's what's most important to me. When I'm meeting people and they're talking about their legacy, write down for me what that looks like outside of these children. Because if you were poor, your daddy was poor, your granddaddy was poor, your great granddaddy was poor, I think we've continued that legacy enough. I love to see people where their legacy is, I do community work. I'm an active participant in my community. I go out, I volunteer, I do this, I do that. Or my legacy is when children come around me, this is actually a safe space. This is actually a safe place where, you know what, I have a couple kids myself. Their friends come over. They all crash in the living room. This is a safe spot. And I love seeing that Honor provided that to Rose because Rose was so lost. And now Honor she's not quite, I want to say, Honor is 19, I want to say. So Honor doesn't really have the best coping mechanisms herself. But, the way she showed up and the way she was a support system to Rose. Sometimes you don't have all the words for somebody when they lose a parent. Sometimes you don't have all the words for someone when they're mourning the loss of a child, or they just lost a job, or their house just set on fire. When you don't have the words, it's okay for you just to show up. We have to stop saying, oh, if you need me, hit me up, reach out. People are not going to reach out. We have to start developing the community again. There was a time where when someone passed away, neighbors would just show up with food. Neighbors would just show up and do laundry. They would show up and, here, let me get the kids out of the house for you. People who are mourning the loss of a loved one, opportunities, things they worked hard for, dreams that do not come into fruition, and now I'm having to accept the process of me getting married and having children. Maybe that's no longer viable for me. We have to show up for people more. And this author did a great job of showing that. Sometimes just sitting there and cooking for somebody. Show up to their house. If you know you have someone that just had a baby, ask them what day this week can you show up and clean. It'll help. I have so much I could say about this book. It is available with Kindle Unlimited. Head on over and read it. Let me know other titles you have read by this author, and I will see you all in the next book review. You can always hire me on my website at allsbrooks.com to read, promote, and market your books, as well as getting your book on a digital billboard in a city near you. My book, My Favorite Ex, is still for free on Amazon, Barnes& and Nobles, and a bunch of other websites. If you already read it, drop a review and let me know how it was for you. Even if it wasn't a 5-star read, if it was a 2-star, let me know.